SVG-TV's news for Monday, October 6th, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has signed an agreement with Sandals Resort International for the construction of a $500 million beaches resort at Mount Twin, located on the country's scenic western coast. The resort will be developed under the Beaches brand, part of the Sandals Group, renowned for its family-friendly, all-inclusive offerings. The signing ceremony was held at Sandals St. Vincent at Bookament Bay. During his address, Executive Chairman of Sandals Resorts International, Adam Stewart, described the occasion as historic, noting the transformational impact that is expected to have on tourism, employment, and the wider Vincentian economy.
It's historic on many levels. It is a vision fulfilled of our elders, who, ladies and gentlemen, we need to listen to our elders. They know, they see, and they have felt what we have not yet seen. If I start giving you stories of my father, you know, as youngsters, we don't like to always tell our fathers they're right, but I look up at my old man all the time, I said, you are right the whole time. And that humility is so critical, because we must remember that we've been given a platform and a base to carry the future. And that's what my team and I in Sandals do every single day. So, Prime Minister, we are here to sign today an agreement to build, at this stage, what looks like the vision of a 500-bedroom, $500 million beaches resort in this country. At full capacity, it will employ nearly 2,000 Vincentians. We'll phase it because we need to build that airlift. But we'll phase it, and Minister James, we're going to have to hit the ground running. We're going to have to go to American Airlines and JetBlue and Virgin and many other airlines that are not here. And the Sandals effect will take flight to another level. Anything we have achieved today will be the beginning of what it could actually be.
He also highlighted the success of Sandals St. Vincent, which opened just over a year ago. Stewart noted that the resort has already ranked among the top 3 performers within the entire Sandals portfolio. Stewart further revealed that 250 Vincentians are on the cusp of joining the Sandals team in Turks and Caicos, where they will support the opening of a new resort scheduled for March 2026.
Could not be more proud. We have more than 150 other Vincentians working in 4 other islands across the region. And one of the things, PM, that I know because I witness it, your constant leadership at CARICOM about Caribbean connectivity and integration. You know, ladies and gentlemen, let me say it here. Nobody is coming to rescue this region. Huh? It is on the people of this region to recognize It is on the people of this region to recognize that the Almighty created the most beautiful tapestry for us to share with the world. And tourism, in many instances in these islands, is the largest economic driver. And Sandals is so unbelievably proud to be the most decorated and awarded hospitality in the entire Western Hemisphere, and to be Caribbean-led, born and bred. It is a shining, living example of what we can do together. And every time somebody says, well, you are from the third world, point to the brand. Point to the success and the pride. The calypsos, the reggaes, the socas, the gastronomic flair that comes out of this region, the athletes. There are too many to name overall. We should be so unbelievably proud of where we come from. And I will continue with my team in everything we do.
Looking ahead, Stewart announced that design work for the new 500-room beaches resort in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is expected to begin in 2026.
Remarkable. We're going to put the Sandoz Design Studio to the test. The spa will be a work of art. This is a volcanic island, and we're going to use those minerals, all that history, and infuse it into the next generation of Red Lane Spa. Gastronomically, Buchan, which sources all of its ingredients from farmers right here on island, farm to table, has been an amazing beta test for the brand. So gastronomically, we're going to go overboard. From a water park point of view, we're going to build something extraordinary. Every facet of this hotel will be the best of the best. And it would not have happened without your support, without the mutual respect between these people of this country and our organization. So my job here today is to tell you, somebody give me a pen quickly, because I have a document to sign and to say thank you. We couldn't be more excited. We will start designs in 2026, and we will move as expeditiously as we can to start digging earth and do something amazing. So to everybody here, everybody in the room, everybody listening, I just really wanted to say a huge thank you.
For Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, Carlos James says the historic signing ceremony between the government of SVG and Sandoz Resorts International demonstrates the strong confidence that a global hospitality giant has in the country's development potential.
Recently, we had our State of the Industry Conference in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, State of the Tourism Industry Conference. And the message which we shared to the Vincentian public was to have confidence in your own product. Those who are investing in this space, those who are coming into our tourism build-out, have confidence in your product. And if companies such as Sandoz, by their show of demonstration of goodwill, the establishment of Sandoz here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right in Bocamen Bay, and then moved to have in Moncton, private Moncton, a beaches in Vincent and the Grenadines. I must join, all of us must join and commend them for taking this bold initiative in investing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What we have seen, at least in my time as Minister of Tourism, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is a full transformation of our tourism product. I'm supported by a hard-working team within the cabinet, the leadership of our Prime Minister, who had the vision to build out the Argyle International Airport. And when he started that project, he said, we are going to build it, and the investment will come. We supported that initiative, and the relationship that we've built across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but also regional, internationally, with hotel chains, the airlines, marketing teams. We have seen St. Vincent and the Grenadines in our tourism space taking off and transforming.
Delivering the feature address at the ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves expressed gratitude to the Sandoz team for their collaboration with the government in making the project a reality. He shared his vision for the new resort, noting that he is hoping that it will become a jewel in the beach's crown.
So that when you leave St. Vincent and you go to New York, London, Toronto, Paris, in the year 2040, 15 years from now, you will see a larger scale. But anything you have there, we're going to have here, and this society is going to be more equal than those societies, very democratic, good governance, healthy, environmentally sound. There are people who used to think, as Adam quite rightly said, that our ideas are aligned, where he said he doesn't like this thing anymore about people talking about developing country and third world country and all the rest of it. This is not just an oasis in a desert called the Caribbean, sandals and beaches. Oh, this is excellence in life, living, and production. But this is being replicated as an example across several different areas of activity and human endeavor and production. There's no longer the definition of first world, which means that you have to have a large industrial base.
Delivering the feature address at today's signing ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Saabs thanked the Sandals team for working with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for bringing about what he said he is hoping all will be the jewel of the beach's crown. Prime Minister spoke of the broader vision of the country's future, one in which Sandals and other hotel investments play a vital role. He said the next 15 years would be dedicated to building a first world country of a special type, rooted in economic progress, sustainability, and inclusive growth.
And AI enlarges the extent of what you have. The small size, it's enlarged. And by the way, St. Vincent is 150 square miles of landscape. But our seascape, when you add the extent of our seascape, especially on the western side of St. Vincent, but also we have good distance on the eastern side, but we have to share the midpoint with Barbados, so it's 50 miles. But when you add that together, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, over what we have, the territory, landscape and seascape, is the size of Rwanda, and the size of a first world country named Switzerland. Switzerland, they do machine tools, they do some pharmaceuticals, they do watches, the cuckoo clock, they do financial, and they do tourism. And there are several countries in the region which can go towards a
Dr. Gonsalves also identified technology, particularly artificial intelligence or AI, as a critical component in advancing the country to a first world status. He further highlighted that St. Vincent and the Grenadines currently ranks ahead of many Caribbean countries in the Human Development Index or HDI, an achievement he accredited to the sustained investments in education, health, infrastructure, and other developments. In other news, a cannabis consultant from Jamaica has emphasized the urgent need for a regional standards and regulations guide the Caribbean cannabis industry, particularly in its dealings with industrialized nations. Speaking during a public lecture at Victoria Park titled "Branding the Caribbean as a Quality Producer of Medicinal Cannabis," Dr. Emmanuel said the region must adopt a unified regulatory framework to ensure product quality, safety, and competitiveness on the global market. He also stressed the importance of increasing cannabis-related research within the region to validate the medicinal properties of the plant and strengthen the Caribbean's position as a trusted producer.
Of value-added products, making edibles, beverages is one of the fastest growing cannabis sectors globally. So just focusing on various aspects and how we could actually create commercial value and commercializing cannabis, because today cannabis is pretty much commoditized and packaged and marketed very very differently from what we are used to. And then the aspect of research and development, this is very critical. We have not seen the level of funding, research, public-private partnerships to really propel cannabis to the future, to be informed in any sort of decisions that we make in terms of cannabis reform.
The lecture attracted local and international experts and researchers, underscoring the growing interest in the Caribbean's potential in the medicinal cannabis market. Dr. Emmanuel also highlighted the need for countries in the region to protect their intellectual property and seriously consider patenting cannabis strains and related innovations.
So we need to have some sort of regional standards that could really protect, because there's value in IP, and as I said previously, the tropical regions, particularly this sort of cultural significance that we have with herb, we will see production coming to our shores in the future based on these things, and those are some of the critical aspects that we need to ensure that the economic value of patenting cultivars and strains and practices are important to the sustainability in the longer run for our children and grandchildren.
Despite the challenges, Dr. Emmanuel expressed optimism about the future of the Caribbean cannabis industry, noting that existing legislation and regulatory frameworks, if properly implemented, can benefit both consumers and local marijuana farmers.
Also see that there is a great local demand and consumption patterns that we have observed throughout our region. So how do we transition farmers from the illicit market to the regulated space, and how do we understand consumers to appreciate the difference of purchasing within the unregulated market and the regulated framework? We also see there is a great need for developing the tourism sector, which tends to support health and wellness through cannabis-friendly resorts, through experiences and farm tours, through even culinary events taking place. And there is a huge opportunity for sun-grown, high-quality cannabis, particularly within the temperate world, where we see the sort of cannabis that is being sold is all these hybrid varieties, which are pretty much suited for indoor and cultivation.
The Cannabis Festival 2025 attracted dozens of local and regional marijuana cultivators, showcasing the evolving landscape of cannabis culture and commerce. Among the participants was Alphas Johnson, a longtime cultivator who shared a powerful story of resilience and change. Johnson recalled that more than 45 years ago he was imprisoned for growing marijuana, an activity that was heavily criminalized at the time.
Well, I started smoking since I was 13 years. Now I'm 63. I do farming since I was around 17. I was one of the first man in St. Vincent and Grenadines get locked up as a traditional farmer in 1980. And the 24th of January and came out the 24th of June. So I do 4 months as a traditional farmer. Well, at those times, marijuana didn't legalize, and if they catch you farming, they used to apprehend you. Well, at those times, they didn't even charge you neither, because the marijuana wasn't so much established at that time. When they lock you up, they put you in prison. You understand? And as time go by now, they start to charge you a fee, like for a joint, if you're a traditional farmer, you understand what I mean? They go raise the penalty a little bit higher. But now, they're trying to really bring things together now so that farmers could get license and get permission and so on to grow.
Reflecting on his journey, Johnson emphasized how traditional farmers like himself have been at the forefront of the cannabis movement, advocating for recognition, reform, and decriminalization of the herb. Since then, Johnson has become a registered marijuana farmer and says he now enjoys the structure and legitimacy that comes with operating under the current regulations.
Yeah, and plus we have the marijuana right here. Well, this is my locally grown. We call this brand here the sour diesel. I have this selling here at $5. You have 2 grams, $5. Yeah, well, I have a registration. I register, and I really actually get the license now. Tell it openly. There's no problem, because if the police then come to me now, I have things I could show. You understand, for them to leave me alone. You know, but I hope, well, the consultant tell me now they're supposed to have one sometime in Barbados. Are you going to take me with him? You know? So that will tell you how far I reach in the business now.
Going places?
Yeah, going places.
Marijuana isn't the only thing Johnson cultivates. His farm also grows a variety of plants and medicinal herbs, which he says are rooted in traditional farming knowledge passed down through generations.
I have the soursop, I have pears, we call the alpogado, I have cane. Well, this is the cane here, I peeling them and selling $5 a bag. Right? I have this herb here. This herb here, we call it part of a man's life. This is very good. You see a woman that get problem with her period, like period pain and so on. Yeah, menstruative or whatever. Right, this is the plant you have to use to keep away the pain and whatever. And some people now just get clad within the period. Okay, well, this now just make your blood get pure. You understand? Yeah.
This year's festival featured nearly 70 booths with exhibitors ranging from cannabis product developers to herbal medicine makers. 11 booths represented businesses from across the Caribbean region, adding an international flavor to the event. The Cannabis Festival continues to highlight not just the commercial potential of marijuana, but also the cultural, historical, and medicinal significance it holds for many in the community. A National Day of Prayer was observed across St. Vincent and the Grenadines under the theme Standing Together in Faith. The event was organized by the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation in collaboration with the National Day of Prayer Committee. Activities for the day included devotions at workplaces and schools, prayer visits to state institutions such as hospitals and prisons, and interactive prayer sessions broadcast live on radio. There was a special segment on NBC Radio's face-to-face program where Pastor Jacqueline Samuel led a dedicated prayer session. Pastor Samuel emphasized the importance of maintaining a consistent prayer life, stating that prayer is always needed and reminding listeners that prayer is not confined to the walls of a church.
Things in our society that can cause us to faint, that can cause us to get discouraged, lose hope, lose faith. But Jesus encourages us. Prayer prevents fainting.
Definitely. That's what
it does. It prevents fainting. Because when you go to God in prayer, it's like it resuscitates you.
Yeah.
You're about to go down, prayer lifts you up. You're about to faint, but prayer brings you back. You're about to go off track, prayer brings you back on track. Jesus said, men ought always. You don't have to be in a church setting. You don't have to be in a planned event. You can pray anyway. That's the beauty of prayer. You can pray anyway. Therefore, regardless of what circumstance you find yourself in, pray.
The 2021 Housing and Population Census in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is now 2 years behind schedule. During the most recent sitting of Parliament, Minister of Finance Camilla Gonsalves was questioned by Opposition Member of Parliament Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble regarding the expected completion date. In response, Minister Gonsalves explained that the delay was due to setbacks in producing the analytical report, which is a key phase in the census process. He noted, however, that the project has now progressed to a stage of recruiting consultants who will soon undergo training to begin analyzing the collected data.
Of the main analytical report was delayed slightly by the knock-on effect of delays in the data processing. Notwithstanding, the recruited consultant has submitted the inception report and the preliminary summary analysis report. The final report is expected by the end of November, first week in December of 2025. the procurement process for selecting consultants to prepare thematic reports for education and training, as well as on the economy using data from the census, is currently underway. The consultant is expected to be onboarded in November, and those consultancies will be executed over a 3-month period. So you're looking at the main census, the thing that we call the census, by the end of November, early December. But then, as you recall, when we had presented it, there would be some deeper analysis in some thematic sections related to education and training and the like. And then that has a knock-on impact on the agricultural census.
Gonzalez also acknowledged the challenges involved in conducting a national census, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, but noted that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was able to collect its census data more effectively and efficiently than several other countries in the region.
The data that came in the year, and I don't have the precise numbers in front of me, but we counted in terms of formally individual getting the detailed data, about 80% of the larger populations. We counted the population as a head count, but then you go and you ask all of these specific detailed questions that are asked on the census, and about 80% of the population is willing to sit down and give us all of that information. And there were some geographical discrepancies. People in town were less likely to talk to you, sit down and talk to you, than people in country. And people in the northern Grenadines were more likely than people in the southern Grenadines, and these sorts of things in the process. So therefore, the consultant then has to come up with statistical formulae to extrapolate from the 80% to get to the 100%.
ULP South Leeward candidate Grenville Williams has described South Leeward as ripe with opportunity for development. During a live discussion on WFM this morning, Williams emphasized that with careful analysis and strategic planning, the constituency has the potential to be transformed into a modern urban hub.
Ripe and rife with opportunities for development, and one of those areas is the expansion of the industrial estate. We can't do it as in the 1970s because the world is more global now. We are a small nation and we have to compete with places like China, Thailand, India, where you can produce at a cheaper rate because of the labor costs. What we have to do is educate our people to deliver very technical services. So that requires high skill set, and bring that type of activity to Camden Park and throughout South Leeward and St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole.